Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important and useful example for template driven form where we will learn how to use a radio button with ngModelGroup. Prior to this session, we talked about an example where we learned to use ngModelGroup with checkbox and select. But in project, there might be requirement where you are supposed to use ngModelGroup with radio button as well. Okay, so in this session, we will be mainly discussing that part only, like how to use template driven form in Angular with radio button and ngModelGroup. Okay, but before we proceed further with this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to implement the same in your projects, because currently we are mainly focusing on ngModelGroup, right, with radio button. But prior to that, you should know how to use it with select, how to use it with checkbox, with normal fields, what is template driven form, and all the important interview questions which we discussed in our previous sessions. Okay, and for that you can refer the Sharmit digital course book, which is freely available in the description box. There you will find more than 3000 plus free resources, which is available in both Hindi as well as English language. So as per your convenience, you can go through it and learn it. Okay, alright, so let's get started with the session. Here you can see, firstly we have this main heading that shows Angular course by Sharmit. Then we have second heading that shows template driven form in Angular for radio button with ngModelGroup. Now to implement this or to demonstrate this thing, firstly we will create one form, and in that form we will be using ng form. And to use this ng form, we should firstly import forms module. So you can say this is prerequisite. If forms module is not there, it won't work. So let's go to app.component.ts file or whatever the TypeScript file in your component. Go there, look for this import section, right here forms module. Okay, so it is added now. It is mandatory, okay, otherwise ng form will throw the error. Now once it is imported, now you are good to define the form. So for that, what we'll do here, we will add 2 horizontal rows. This is not mandatory, the horizontal rows, but I just want to write it as a clean output on the browser. So that is why I'm using this, because this will help me to separate out the actual form with the headings. Okay, now inside this, what we will do, we will write here form, and in form we will write here hash my form with ng form. Okay, so you can see right now it is not showing any error. Why? Because we have already imported the forms module. But if it was not there, then in that case it will show you the red underline here and it will throw the error if it is not there. But we have already imported, so it is, that is why like it is not showing any error here. Okay, now after this, what we will do, we will create the other things to demonstrate how to use ngModelGroup with a radio button. So for that, let's add one div here. Okay, so I'll add here div. In this div, we will write ngModelGroup. Okay, and here we will assign it as gender. Then we will write here one label. This label will help us to identify the radio button which we are designing. So let's say the first radio button is for male. Okay, then we will add here input field. Here we will define type as checkbox. Okay, then we will write here name as type. Let's say name. Here we will write as type. Okay, and then we will assign the value. So remember this thing, this is very important thing. Although those who know the basic HTML, they know this, right? But if you don't know, it's not a big deal. Like you have to just write name and value. In value we will mention male. Okay, and then we will write here ngModel. So what basically we did here, we added one checkbox. Its name is type because we want to capture it with the name type. Value it will hold as male, and in second thing it will considered as a female. Okay, and then we added a ngModel here. This thing is ready. Let's see how it looks like, and then accordingly we will define the second button. So for that, let's run ngserve -- open, enter. Just wait for a few seconds and it will show you the output in the browser mode. So you can see here we have a main heading, Angular course by Sharmit, second heading, template driven form in Angular, radio buttons with ngModelGroup. Then we have one horizontal row, then we have one label that is mail, one checkbox, and okay, we made a mistake here. We are doing the demo for the radio button and we have added checkbox, so it should be radio. Sorry for that. Yeah, so now type is radio because checkbox we have already covered in the last session, right? And now you can see it is showing the checkbox. In the similar way, we need another checkbox for the female. So for that, you can go here and write label, and then we will write here female. Okay, and then you can write here the next input field where we will mention type as radio, then name would be type itself, and value. Okay, in value we will mention as female, and also the ngModel. Perfect. So now we have got the two radio button for male as well as female. Let's say if you want to add another radio button for other gender or third type, then in that case you can add it here. Or maybe let's say if you are creating the radio button for any other option, for any other purpose other than gender, so you can design that as well. So as many options you want to provide, you can create a separate label and separate input field for that. Okay, fine. So now as we have got the both buttons, and we all know that in case of radio button, at a time only one field will be selected. In checkbox you can select multiple field, but in radio button you have to select only one option at a time. Okay, so that is why like we have provided the common name here. Okay, so in case of type, it either it will select male or a female, not both. Okay, fine. So that is why like when we select it, if you have selected male and if you change it to female, it will be replaced from the male. Okay, now it is not containing the value as male, it is containing the value as female. Likewise, if you click again on male, accordingly it will switch. This is the how normal radio button works, right? So we have created it. Now let's submit it and see how it will work. So to submit the form, you need to add a button here. So let's add button, and this button is for submit. Here I will define click, submit form. Okay, and opening closing, here I will write my form. Perfect. So this is ready. Right now it is throwing error because we haven't defined this method. Okay, so let's go here, click on app component. Here we will define for submit form, opening closing parenthesis. Here I will write form and ng form. Look carefully, like when I press enter, it added ng form here. That means it is required. Okay, after that we will add two curly braces, open close curly braces, and inside this we will console the output. So console.log, and in here we will mention form.value. Perfect. So this thing is ready. Now we are ready with this method, and it will help us to submit the form. So let's verify the output, because we know that in case of ngModelGroup, it submit the output as it returns the output as an object. Okay, so let's see how it will work. So click on inspect on the browser, click on console. We haven't clicked submit, right? So I'll select for male and submit. So you can see it returned one object, that is gender, and the type is considered as male. Okay, similarly if you select the second radio button, submit it, you will see that now the gender object is again populated, and this time it is showing the type as female. Okay, so this is how exactly it works. In case if I didn't selected anything, submit it, you will see the type is coming as blank. although like you can put the validation if you don't want to keep it as blank, but overall you can see that we are getting the required output, that is object. Now some of you might be thinking like mainly we use ngModelGroup just for combining the correlated field. So yes, you can use this as a correlated, like in case if you want to keep name, gender and date of birth into a common personal detail category, so you can create it. We are just seeing how we can add it for radio button. So individually we have covered it in all sessions, like select, checkbox, right? So now you know all these methods. So in a single form, because in project you will find a form that contains all of these things together, and there it is a bit difficult to understand. But if you learn it individually, then it is very easy for you to understand it and to implement it in your actual project. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today. See you in the next session with new topics. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.